All right. Welcome everybody. Tom and George is here. You should see my face.
Hello.
All right. Hello, George. Oh, immediately. Thank you very much to FV702. $20 super chat and FV7. So thank you, much appreciated. And he said, sponsored by CleanSpark. All the signs were there and the writing is on the wall. Jump in to get some of that money. Yes, August numbers will be strong. So that's from FV702. Thank you for the super chat, and I could not have said it better myself. I'm glad that's exactly how we're starting the stream because CleanSpark is on fire. We're definitely going to talk about their earnings release. We got a million things to talk about. We got a lot of financial statements out this week. Bitcoin didn't do so much, but the Bitcoin miners had a fascinating week, and CleanSpark killed it. We will also talk about BitDeer, which had a big day, but I have a very different opinion on that one. We'll see what you guys think. George, thoughts, comments? How was your week?
Good. Which is nice to see some movement in some stocks.
Yeah, we got some strong, and it was a lot of hit or miss. Yesterday was an oddball day where, so this is back-to-back days, and CleanSpark didn't finish anywhere near its high, but you can see Bitcoin was very sideways today. It was kind of down a lot of the trading day. It almost got back to where, let's make sure this is the correct line. So yes, so for those of you who are new, and for those of you who already know, the orange line is where Bitcoin was when the U.S. equity markets closed yesterday. So if we look day over day, I mean, we're $15 away from where we were when the market closed yesterday. So a little, we had a little bit up at one point, a little bit down at one point, but it all worked out in the end. But yesterday, which was similar, some of the big names were down. Riot and Marathon had bad days, and CleanSpark was up like 15, 16%. It added another 11% on top of that today. So big moves from CleanSpark. I don't think it's anywhere near done, in my opinion. I did not add to it only because I've been adding. That's one of 3 stocks I've been adding very aggressively to all year this year, and including I added to CleanSpark this week. So, going after these 2 big days, I didn't add any more, but I did add earlier this week. And, 652 is nothing, in my opinion, for them. Their report, which we'll go through, I thought was A-plus stuff. I have not yet done my deep dive video on CleanSpark. I do have a lot of deep dive videos left to do. All this information came at us at warp speed this month, right? It's only August 11th right now. We've had almost every single one of the Bitcoin miners issue their monthly operational update. We've had 6 or 7 Bitcoin miners issue their quarterly reports. So, plus conference calls, reading 10Ks. This has been a busy week. But hopefully, for me, you guys know my high conviction plays, and they all had a very good week this week. So hopefully most of you guys enjoyed a good week, at least with your Bitcoin miner part of your portfolio. The rest of the market also, did not have the greatest week, and today was no different. Let's take a look at where today ended. NASDAQ was down 0.68, so that's the one I look at the most. The S&P was down just a little. It was in the red, down 11%. The Dow up 0.3. For those of you who watch the channel, I don't even look at the Dow. And then the Russell was up 0.13. But, that NASDAQ and S&P, those are the big ones. And particularly if you're in, high growth stuff, if you're in tech stuff, if you're in Bitcoin and crypto stuff, that tends to mirror the NASDAQ more so than anything. And that was down today. But Bitcoin miners had a good day. So let's see what's going on. Just say hello to a bunch of the members. Appreciate everybody who is a member. Appreciate the subscribers, but a special thanks to the members. Super special thanks to FV702 for the super chat. Much appreciated.
Tom,
yes.
I got to say something before you get in thanking everybody.
Fire away.
You know what?
What?
If people would have been members on Tuesday, we talked all about CleanSpark and what was happening.
Yes.
And wasn't this before the jump in price?
Yes, it was.
I mean, it's not financial advice. I mean, it was advice. You took your own advice.
Well, and the group talks about this. We
Yeah.
had a spirited debate on our members only Discord in addition to the members only live stream. So there was 24 hours where CleanSpark was the topic of conversation, and this was prior to the earnings release and prior to the big run up. So there were varying opinions, but I think consensus was expecting very good things. I couldn't have been happier with that report. That's well, I was going to say that's all I can tell you, but that's not all I can tell you. We're here to talk about that for the next hour or two, so we'll definitely
And
talk
I
more.
I know that we're trying to get an interview with this person, and I know I'm going to roll them under the bus. But I think we talked about them going down. And that is Marathon.
Yes, Marathon. I will tell you, so I'm going to go through the reports that I really, really liked. It may surprise you that I really liked Marathon's report. It wasn't perfect. There was some good stuff. There was some bad stuff, as always. But I liked Marathon's report. Riot's report, again, some good stuff, some bad stuff. I have big questions. I expect that we're going to get both of them on the channel this month. So we've reached out to both, or either we've reached out to them or they've reached out to us. We've been in communication with Riot and Marathon over the last 24 hours. So hopefully we get both of those interviews set up for this month. For those of you who are wondering, we had an interview set up with Paul from TerraWulf, and that was already supposed to have happened, but he had a conflict. He had to push that back, so you can mark your calendars if you care. That will now be on August 23rd. So I hope to get Jason and Fred on here, maybe one and the week before that and maybe one the week after that. So we'll see. That's what we're trying to line up, and a bunch of other stuff. We kind of I'll tell you, we're upping our game here. I don't want to say, I was sick for a month. George has been on the move, vacationing with his family, summer vacation for the kids. Work has been heating up for him big time, so a lot of distractions, but I feel like we're back on track big time. So you can expect a lot from the channel this month, in addition to the fact that I won't even get into, I'll let George talk about the fact that hopefully, sooner than later, he will be introducing his website that he's been working on for quite some time now that, all works
I hope so.
I don't want to jinx you, George, and I'll let you talk about that. But
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know anymore.
I know it's day to day. You get good news and things seem like they're headed in the right direction. And then working with these web designers, I don't know. There's nothing quite like it. It's really, it can be exhausting. But in the meantime, we're going full speed ahead. I did do an interview on somebody else's channel that's going to air Monday. I won't even say who that is. You guys will have to wait and see. So that's coming out Monday.
Is that Bill O'Reilly?
I can't rule that out. I mean, I guess I could since I know who it was with, but I won't rule that out. But I'm going to say that's unlikely, highly unlikely. I'm just happened to catch. So let me say hello to the members because we appreciate the members' support. For those of you who don't know, we do have a monthly membership. It's only $5 a month. It's got to be the cheapest membership in the world, but it does help support the channel, so it's much appreciated. You can hit the join button right next to the subscribe button on YouTube. If you don't see that join button, then you're probably on an Apple product. So if that's the case, there's a link in the pinned comment below. So you're welcome to join us. I think it brings a lot of benefit. You guys can talk in the chat about whether you agree. We have a lot of great conversations. Every Tuesday, we have a members only live stream where we do get to talk about a lot more. We talked about a lot this Tuesday on the members live stream that there is no way we can talk about on our regular live streams. Having said that, we always like to bring the Friday live stream for everybody. So with all that said, hello Darren, hello FB702, hello Edmund, hello Miguel, hello Sour Melon Gaming, hello, let's see, I don't know if I already said Darren, hello Mark, Edmund, I think I said. Hello, Darren. Hello, Calvin. Calvin, I don't know if you're new. If you aren't, I apologize. Or maybe you just don't comment a lot, but welcome to the channel. And then I'm going to go through these comments. Hello. I'm definitely going to mispronounce this. Hello. Krutz. Hello, Crypto Fever. Hello, Nash V. Hello, Jeff. I was just thinking about Jeff today, so glad to see you on the stream. Let's see. Omar, Barry, I think that's everybody, so much appreciation to all existing members. With that said, also, I'm going to do my thing where we are only at 21 likes right now. If everybody could do us a gigantic favor and hit the like button, it does help the stream out a lot. It adds, you know, the more we hit the like button, the more interactions we get, the more they send this stream out to more people, and, you know, it helps. The more the merrier, the better the conversation that we can have. So we always appreciate if you would smash the like button.
So, Tom, do you think we've already hit the bottom and we're moving up on up?
Man, are we sideways? Let's go to that's good question, George. Let's go to the chart. I'm going to go to the 1-day chart because the 15-minute for the moment isn't even worth looking at. But if you look at this 1-day chart, I mean, we had this move down. This seemed like all of a sudden, this was a day. This was July 24th. You can see I have this line at 28.8. I will note, as I look around, a lot of people have this line at 28,900. I have it at 28,800. I'm not changing my line. I've had this line on here for over 2 years. And to me, this is very strong support. And you can see on the daily candle, we have not closed below this line, period. Since we went above it on June 23rd, we have maintained it. We've candle wicked below it a couple of times, but it has held completely since then. So I do think we've bottomed out. I think 28.8, you know, we were wondering, is 28.8 going to be the bottom? Are we going to maybe go down to something like 27.5? Are we going to retest 25,200, which is the purple line that you can see if you're looking at the chart that should be on the screen? And we can do a poll on that right now, but I'm going to give you my answer in advance. I think 28.8 is holding. I mean, this is very strong. But once again, a massive, I mean, look at this. Look at this period, right? We went through this, and this happens more and more. And everybody thinks, oh, you know, the volatility's all gone. We're sideways forever. But typically, I'm going to get rid of this because I'm bad at drawing circles. But typically, after one of these, you'll see, boom, you know, we get this push. And now, here we go again. We got some sideways, you know, and it usually has a little downward slant to it. But at the end of that, I'm expecting another move to the upside. I've been talking about breaking out of 32,000 and running up to 35,000. I've been talking about it for 3 or 4 months now. It hasn't happened yet. I still think that's the next move. I'm going to post a poll right now so that as we're talking and discussing, you guys can vote and let me know what you think.
That's an interesting one. Is it going to go up or is it going to go down? I think there's just a lot of stuff out there that's still kind of spooking me. Once that stuff goes away, then I'll feel a lot better. And only time's going to heal those wounds.
Give us more.
Time should heal the... Well, I saw somebody
wounds,
said that
it doesn't.
bond was revoked for SPF, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Ah, our nobody's buddy, I guess.
Yeah, so that was number one. And then number two is still a lot of questions regarding some currencies out there that are supposed to be stable coins. And no one's talking about this, Tom, but what about China and credit swaps? No one's saying anything about that, and that could be an issue.
There's a lot of fear coming out of what's going on in China in a lot of different ways. Their economy is not growing the way that they hoped it would, as far as we can tell. So it depends. Definitely, there's days where, you know, that's a big area of uncertainty, which is never good for the market, right? Even if all that's not true, it is a lot of uncertainty because we don't know.
Yeah,
And
are the fear of the unknowns is the thing that gets us.
that's exactly right.
But so I still think what is it called Greenwich. What was the name of that company?
Yeah.
Evergreen. Evergreen.
Yes.
Evergreen. I still think that hasn't shaken all the way out yet. Personally. But that's just me. That's just me.
I'm almost ready to post this. Okay, so I will post the poll and then you guys can vote. I told you what I think if you missed it. Oh, did I put too many like letters in one of these? Yes. Okay, so the poll is...
I almost think China had to do I almost think China had to do BRICS. You know that?
Well, and there's some stuff going on with their currency and outflow of currency. So, okay, quickly, let me just say the poll is Bitcoin's next move up to 35,000, down to 27,500. That's a point we've talked about in the past. Down to retest 25,200, which on my chart, which is on the screen, that's the purple line, or more sideways action for the next 1 or 2 months. Let's see what people think. What's next? Evergrande. Stephen English is saying Evergrande. Jeff, I don't know. That might be a little premature, Jeff.
What?
RIP China.
Yeah.
FV702. Ghost towns in China are nuts. Barry saying Beijing was hit with massive flooding 2 weeks ago. So far a lot of not that great news regarding China. But again, I'm always not sure exactly how much real-time accurate information we get on that regard.
Out of China?
Yes, exactly.
I don't
Calvin
think we
is
get
saying,
any.
Any insight on helium? All I can tell you on helium. Oh, you know what? Well, all I can tell you is nothing. I do have a little bit of helium that I'm looking into. I like helium. The commodities are picking back up again. I like helium. What I was thinking of was hydrogen. I like hydrogen. There was a real entry point, and I haven't jumped in yet, but I'm going to into Plug, which is a hydrogen play. F-Cell is another hydrogen play I'm looking at. I think Plug is really more the industry leader in that area, and I know we have some members that are fans of Plug, so I'll give a plug for Plug. I'm gonna go back a little. Jeff says, Tom, supermarkets to the moon, baby. Been buying back in heavy. All right. Listen, Jeff called this last year. It was the call of the year in the supermarkets. So, Jeff, you want to drop some names in the chat as to which ones you're buying into? Because you did, and I did not buy in, and I regretted, so I mentioned it many times. Jeff was screaming at the members. These, not financial advice, but he was saying, this is what I'm doing, and I got a real good feeling about it. And Jeff is, I don't want to say it, Jeff's in the industry, I believe. So, there's some insight there. It's not inside information, but there's some insight. Sour Melon Gaming said, Tom and George, you guys are changing lives. Can't wait to experience the big bull run with you guys. Thank you very much, Sour Melon Gaming. Much appreciated. And Sour Melon Gaming has been a member for quite some time, so thanks for that as well. Calvin saying, I wouldn't mind a pullback to drop some serious coin into CleanSpark and Iris. This is one of those things I find myself thinking, and then every time I simultaneously just kind of warn myself, be careful what you wish for, because, I want, you want a little pullback. Well, what's a little, and when does it stop? And so I do take, having said that, I do take every opportunity. When I see an opportunity and there's a pullback, I continue to add to my high conviction plays. And I did make a swing trade this week, so I will talk about that in a few minutes. I completely sold out of, early in the week, I think I told the members I had sold a portion of this stock. Later in the week, I sold the rest of it. So I did a swing trade in what was just about a 90-day period. I got over 100% return on that, and I pulled my money out because it was not a super high conviction play, but I did feel very strongly. I actually think it was going to pull it more than just a double, probably a triple or a quadruple, but I said, you know what? Let me take the double right now, put some money back on the sidelines, and see. Let's see if there's a rainy day. Maybe I can buy back into some of my higher conviction plays. So I don't do a lot of that, but I did do that this week. Let me know in the comments. Let us know if you guys made any of those kind of moves, and if so, with what, if you're comfortable sharing. George, there's like, the chat is on fire. I can't even, I don't know if you're following. You got access where you're at? George might be on a call right now. Sometimes when George goes dark, it's because he's got to take work calls. So that might be what's going on. Jeff said, I told y'all when to buy them and when to sell them. January this year, many supermarkets dropped to great buy zones. WMK and IMKTA present the best return. So there's a couple of, not financial advice, but just a couple of comments on what Jeff is doing and what he's been successful with in the past. So that's another beauty of our members. Like, I am not, forget an expert. I'm just, that's not my area, supermarkets. But we got somebody in the group that, has a massive amount of experience with these stocks. So, and we have that in a lot of different sections, a lot of different industries. So
I would think a supermarket's good or bad right now.
Jeff is saying it's time to get back in, I believe.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I hear that, they're not buying premium stuff anymore. Like premium meats and then you heard what Tyson just did, I'm sure.
Tyson closed a bunch, or they're in the process of closing a bunch. 4 plants. I mean, that's rough. But I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of times supermarkets are what I do know is a lot of older information. I audited several supermarkets. They're the ones that I audited were more local and regional. They were very low profit margin centers. There are different formulas now, right? There's higher end supermarkets that have a little bit of a different equation than what I really got a firsthand close up look at. So you got.
I got to sneak out for a second.
All right, you got to know your stuff. And it sounds like it's a cyclical thing where, sometimes they're better than others. Cosmic Contrarian, Tom and Big George doing work on the live stream. Welcome, Cosmic Contrarian, to the stream. Kevin, welcome to the stream. CleanSpark. I just lost it. CleanSpark trimmed profit. So I don't know if he's saying that he took some profits. I will tell you, I did not sell a single share of CleanSpark. Right before this run up, I did add to my position in CleanSpark earlier this week. I added to Bitfarms, I added to CleanSpark, and I added to IREN Energy this week. So I didn't add any. Once the run up started happening, I didn't add any more. Let me go back to the. This is what happened today with the Bitcoin miners. Hopefully you guys can see this. I think my head blocks everything under DMG blockchain, I guess. So MicroStrategy was up 1.6%. That's really the only thing you're missing. I mean, this was not a big day other than 2 giant moves. One very nice move. CleanSpark, off of a giant day yesterday, had another double-digit up day today to 11.26% up to $6.52. BitDeer, I want to look at the chart. At one point, they were up pushing 50%. I saw 47% at one point. Sorry, I don't know what I said. BitDeer, stock ticker BTDR. This stock is a mystery. I do not believe what they're doing, so that's just not financial advice. It's not my personal opinion. I don't like this stock, but if you had listened to me, you would have missed a heck of a run-up. I'm going to go to their chart, in fact, because, you know, these guys have been on fire. Having said that, I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it. I saw, you know, they put out their financial statements today. I don't understand. And what particularly worries me, I'm going to show you the volume that they trade on, because, like, you know, it's in the neighborhood of 1/100th of the volume of, like, most of the other Bitcoin miners that we talk about, or many of the other Bitcoin miners that we talk about on this channel. So, you know, to go up, you know, $300 or $400 or $500 million in market cap on $1 million of trading, to me, I'm very weary. I'm not saying it didn't happen. It happened, but is that a real move? Is that a move that you can have a lot of confidence in? So let me go, before I look at this chart, let's actually pull up the activity on today. You're going to see, and this was a huge trading volume day for them, and it still was tiny, right? This company averages 75,000 shares a day. So they had a monster trading day at 600,000 shares. So, you know, that's maybe $7 million of trading. So for them to be up, you know, $2 or $3 or $4 or $500 million in market cap at various points on the day today, on, you know, what turned out at the end of the day to be $7 million of volume, versus, let's just take a look. You know, this is probably the most traded. You know, Marathon traded 21 million shares today. They usually trade 38 million shares. So, you know, a gigantic day for BitDeer was 600,000 shares. And remember, the Marathon's actually a higher price than BitDeer. So it's not the price. You're talking about 75,000 on the average for BitDeer versus 38 million a day on the average for Marathon. And while that is one of the big ones, you know, they're not alone. If I go to Riot, 22 million a day. Even if I go, let's go to Bitfarms, you're going to see 9 million a day. So 75,000 shares is almost like, that's borderline, like, lacking the proper amount of liquidity to even be comfortable trading, for me, in my opinion. Right, 75,000 shares a day. The Marathon, they may trade more options than that. So, this is, I'm not sure what's going on here. You guys drop in your thoughts in the chat section. What do you think's going on with BitDeer? And then maybe we'll do a poll and see what people think. Let me see if
how's the poll looking right now? 77 votes, 55 up to 35K, 19 down to 27. Down to 25, 4%, and then sideways 22%.
So, really, 96% of the votes do not believe we're going to go revisit 25,200. So I think all three of those other options are, you know, they're anyone that I think the other three are reasonable options. I'm glad to see these results, because I would be very surprised if we drop down to 25.2. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but that would surprise me. The consensus, the majority actually think the next move is up. So that's encouraging. And then, you know, between 19% and 22%, you got almost, you know, about 40% of the people that think we're either going to go a little bit sideways or maybe a little bit down. So I think this is a pretty realistic poll. I think this probably reflects the marketplace. I do think we're going to be surprised. I think we've been waiting forever. I do think we're going to get this next leg up. It's taken a lot longer than I thought, but we have not broken our trend in any way. So to me, the next logical move, even if it has to do with, you know, pulling back to 27,500, the reason I don't think we're going to pull all the way back here, and the reason I leave that as a final line in the sand, if we break this line, I think that would actually potentially shift the entire narrative of continuing this bull run. If we start, go ahead, George.
Go ahead. I have a question about CleanSpark.
Yes.
Because what would happen if they all of a sudden decided to issue more shares?
Well, they do issue shares.
Like do another do another market, at the market.
Okay, so here's my first piece of the answer to that is because they did let everybody know on the conference call, right? They've been talking about getting to 16 exahash this year. They just got over 9 exahash right now. They have to add 7 more exahash. The infrastructure and the machines are 100% funded right now to get to 16 exahash.
Oh, to get to 16?
Yes. So they literally don't have to spend another dollar to get where they're going. They've got the money. They're fully funded. They don't have to issue another share. That doesn't mean they won't, to do maybe whatever comes next after that. I do know they're increasing their HODL position. So one of the things they may be doing, because they have some cash built up, they may start to switch, reduce their cash position and increase their Bitcoin position, 1 month at a time. I would be in favor of that if they can do that. The more they can HODL going into the halving, the better, because I'm going to go to a chart and let me see if I can find the right chart here. Where is that? So this is as of June 30th. I have not updated this for all the financial statements and whatnot that came out this week. You've got really only 3 companies with a major HODL position. Marathon right now is so far out ahead of everybody, it's unlikely anybody, unless they have a shift and something drastic happens to their business, they have the most Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and that's unlikely to change. Hut is in second place. I could see Riot and Hut fighting it out. It's potentially if Riot can start to do their thing, and one of the things I mean by that is they just had a huge announcement not too long ago. They're buying, I think 7.6, is it more than that? 7.6 exahash to get them over 20 exahash. And then they've got options to buy more machines to get themselves to 35 exahash. So, even if they don't get to 35, if they get somewhere between 20 and 25 exahash running, they could start HODLing a bunch and maybe catch up to Hut. But these 3 companies, I do not think there's another Bitcoin mining company, and that includes all the rest of the publicly traded Bitcoin companies, a lot of which I like a lot. I just don't think they're in any position to ever catch these 3 companies, not in the next 2 or 3 years anyway. And remember, after the halving, it's really going to be difficult to drastically increase your HODL position on your balance sheet. Unless these companies start buying Bitcoin, and I am completely opposed to that. You talk about an over-concentration of risk. 100% of your business is buying equipment to mine Bitcoin, and now on top of that, you're going to buy Bitcoin. That doesn't make sense. We do know a company that tried that in 2021, early 2022. It went very poorly. I don't see anybody doing that ever again. So for that reason, you got Hive at a couple of thousand. Bit Digital, this is Bitcoin equivalent. More than half of this now, I think, is actually Ethereum. You do have Bitfarms, which is, this says 549, but their latest and greatest report in July had them over 1,000. So they doubled in the month of July. They are now over 1,000. So I think, they stand a chance maybe to get into the ballpark of where Bit Digital and Hive are. So, maybe you've got this second group of Hive, Bitfarms, maybe even CIFR and CleanSpark. Sorry, not Bitfarms. Hive, CleanSpark, maybe CIFR, maybe Bitfarms, that could get into that second tier group just from a HODL standpoint. And I'm not saying they're second tier Bitcoin miners. I'm saying that's just the second tier of HODL position. Let me know. Does anybody think that anybody can get into this top 3? I just don't see how it could happen. There is one other company I've left off of here, and that is Core Scientific. But their current HODL position is 0. So And that is going to be true for months and months to come. So they may be able to make a run, at some point. But even after they come out of, I'm concerned about Core Scientific. I know a lot of people have made a fortune on that over the last 7 or 8 months. So congratulations. If you timed that perfectly, which obviously almost nobody times these perfectly, but there was a 2,000% run up in a 6.5 month period of time. They're still up over 1,000% just year to date this year. But all that's going to change when they get out of Chapter 11. They did have almost $1 billion of debt as you look at their most recent financial statements. So a lot of that, in my opinion, is going to turn into equity. So, your existing equity is going to get diluted at a level like, we talked, George's initial question was, what if CleanSpark does a little more dilution? The dilution you're going to see, in my opinion, in Core Scientific is going to be, 10-fold or 50-fold what you're talking about in any of these other companies. But we'll see. That's a guess on my part. We're going to have to see what deal they strike with all of their debtors, because I don't think they can. I think they have to turn a lot of this into convertible debt or just straight up equity, because even at the size they are, if they have $1 billion of debt, they can come out of Chapter 11. They're just going to go right back into Chapter 11. The debt service on that will run them over, even if Bitcoin has a run up, even if they're operating well. So you're going to see massive, massive changes to the financial statements that they just issued this last week. But
so Tom, how much longer can they stay in bankruptcy?
I'm not sure what the answer to that is. I think they're looking to get out of bankruptcy. From everything that I'm seeing, they're talking about wrapping this up and moving on. So I would have to do some more research. There is a drop dead date. I don't know what it is. But they've been indicating they're inching closer and closer towards getting out of Chapter 11, and they might be a great company. The question is, what's your stock going to be worth? How much is it going to get diluted by the $1 billion of debt that this company has, right?
Why wouldn't Elon Musk buy it?
Well, I wouldn't buy $1 billion of debt.
Why not?
I'd start from
the infrastructure's already there.
Start from scratch.
Yeah, but you're not looking at it from somebody that has how many billions of dollars?
I know that $1 billion is a very small amount of money for Elon Musk. He just paid 40 plus times that to buy Twitter. But
yeah,
but Twitter, in my personal opinion, or X or whatever you want to call it now, that's value goes so significantly beyond this. But you're right. Yes, if he wanted to, he could drop $1 billion on this and do whatever he wanted with it. That's almost play money to him, as hard as that is to comprehend for the rest of us. But he'd be wildly overpaying. But to your point, would he care? Would he care?
No,
if
I don't
maybe
think
he could have got
be.
the same thing for $500 million.
Yeah, I know. How much is he really saving?
Right.
I mean, it's an infrastructure that's ready to go. I mean,
it's turnkey. So you're right about that. That's and if anybody could negotiate, maybe he could negotiate a payoff instead of those people having to wait years and years or convert to equity that they probably don't even want. It's just better than nothing. You could see somebody like that coming in and offering payoffs for whatever it is, maybe even pay 50 cents on the dollar. I'm guessing a lot of those lenders would jump at that.
So which Bitcoin miner right now do you think still is the most undervalued? And that I know this is not financial advice, and I know you're guessing.
Everything's always a guess. I have a top 3 conviction right now that's pretty strong. So picking which one. CleanSpark just had a gigantic run up. So if you would have asked me this 3 days ago, I would have said CleanSpark. Now they just had a big run up, so maybe now I would say Iris Energy. And if I didn't say one of those two, my third one would be Bitfarms. Those to me are the 3 that I think are still the most undervalued. And when I say that, let me go to a different chart and show you. I'm leaving some of them out of this conversation. Give me 1 second. I'll find that chart. Okay, so this is a chart by market cap. This was as of last Friday, so this doesn't count this week's activity. So you can see there's 12 companies here that are between $300 million and $3 billion. It drops off of a cliff after that. So between Argo Blockchain, DMG, DigiHost, Stronghold, Greenidge, Mawson, Any, which is Sphere 3D. There's a few I don't even have on these. So if you were to say which one's the most undervalued, you know, if things go the right way for something like Any, they could pull, you know, they could 4x in a month. But that's a much higher risk reward, and I have much less conviction. I actually happen to like Any. It is a position that I hold, by the way, just, you know, as an aside. I like Any. I think they're way undervalued, but that's my personal opinion. So could they be, you know, could they have the biggest run up? By the same token, if I look at what they've done on the year, and that is right here, you know, Any's up 8% on the year. On a year where my Riot position's up 405%, my Any position's up 8%. So you could look at that glass half empty, glass half full. Maybe all the run is ahead for them, right? They gotta quadruple just to catch up to the pack here from a percentage standpoint, and that would still leave them one of the smallest Bitcoin miners. But I'm not gonna. When you ask me a question like that, I'm trying to stick to the medium to large Bitcoin miners that, you know, I think are the better long-term plays that are currently undervalued. So I guess that's how I frame my answer to that question.
Well, that makes sense. I mean,
you know, if you want to take a risk, there's the list. Let me go back to it. You know, you want to take a high risk. Mawson got down to 99 cents yesterday. I don't know what's going on with Mawson. I don't see any indication why all of a sudden. I'm going to show you guys that chart. So, and I'm not saying I don't even own a position in Mawson, but at 99 cents, I got to tell you, it was all I could do not to jump in on that. But if you look at Mawson, what are they doing? Even today, after being up 4.7%, these last 2 days represent their all-time low as a company. These are the two worst market cap days, stock price days this company has ever had in its history. Now, how can that be true at Bitcoin $29,000? Their business model hasn't changed at all. Nothing's happened. Why are they worth? This only goes back, you know, less than 1 month, from the middle of July until, you know, I'll even go where they closed today. They're down 65% in this month. I have no answer to that. That doesn't make any sense to me. And more than that, not only are they down 65%, they're at their all-time low at a time where you just saw, if I go back to this chart, where's the chart?
where's the chart?
Where's the chart? At a time where most of these, you know, the bad companies, in quotes, I'll say, the ones that have not performed well this year are up 160%, 225%. You know, you got these in the middle up 300 or 400%. You've got a couple up over 500%. You got Core Scientific up over 1,000%, and you've got Any. This shows 8%. I'm sorry, Mawson. This shows up 12%, but since last Friday, it's continued to crash. It's now at its all-time low in an industry that's on fire. And I can't find anything Mawson specific versus these other companies that tells me why that is. So a part of me, you know, and Edmund, if you're out there, and I see that you are, I know you're going to tell me not to do it, but this is getting almost too hard to pass up from a swing trade standpoint. So I will tell everybody what the one that I did swing trade in and out of, and I very rarely do this. It's not my main. I am a buy and hold, so I take opportunities to add to my positions. I do use some options to try to make some, you know, short-term money here and there. But Stronghold to me was so ridiculously undervalued that I think just about a 90-day period earlier this week, from one day to the next, it traded down to 5. I'm going to go to the chart, and I'll just show you for those who care. This traded from $5. You'll see on Monday, this was $5.80. On Tuesday, I got to sell this. It got up to $7.95. I sold it at $7.80. That's $2 up in, the second half of this trading day and the first half of this trading day. So in one trading day, this was up, 30 or 35%. And I said, I'm going to sell out of a bunch of my position. And then, and I was going to hold some more and see what happens. But then we had this day. So at $8, it got up to $8.45. At $8.30, I said, you know what? This is not a long-term play for me. This is not a high conviction play for me. I've pulled much more than a double in this in a very short window of time. I sold the rest of it. So I made that money, and it's sitting as cash on the sideline. And, if there's a pullback, I'm going to get to go into some very high conviction plays, maybe at better numbers. So that is not my normal trading strategy, but I'm not going to, if I see something screaming, I will do some of that. And I will tell you, I see some of that. I do see some of that screaming right now. To me, not financial advice, ultra high risk. I have to say it. It's, it's reality, and I harp on this, but let me find my chart. These numbers are all lower right now because this was a week ago. So when you sit here and look at any, which is now at here.
Any,
which is Sphere 3D. So a lot of you may have a very negative association with that. And that is because a year and a half ago, they were involved in some things that did not reflect well on the company. I'm just going to say that. For whatever that's worth, right? They put out a press release at one point where they were going to buy $1.8 billion of a brand new machine that didn't exist yet. They were going to have exclusive rights to that machine. It was going to get them to 32.4 exahash by the end of the year, and they were going to have exclusive first right of refusal to buy that machine on a going forward basis, and it was 50 or 60 or 70% more energy efficient than the next best machine on the market. So I will tell you, within minutes, I had a video out on that saying, I don't know, right? I'm not in the know, but all I can tell you is if this is true, all the rest of the Bitcoin mining companies should just close up shop today before they waste any more money, because they have no chance of competing with that. And number two, I've never seen a deal structured where it's a $1.8 billion deal, and the deposit was $10 million and the rest was going to be financed. So forget everything else I just said. There's no deal in history that's ever been done that way. There would be no reason to do a deal that way. That excluded this from being reality, in my opinion. I said so in real time that day. You just don't see. Why would a company do that? Why would a company leverage themselves, a brand new company that has a brand new machine they've never sold to anybody, on day one leverage themselves $1.8 billion and lend somebody else the money to go take all their machines? That would officially have been the worst deal in the history of the world. So anyway, I digress, but we talked about it a bunch. I called it out on the channel because I didn't want people to get burned. Like, sometimes there's obvious stuff. That was obvious. So, if that's your association with any Sphere 3D, just know they have a new CEO. They have a new management team. They've shaped up their balance sheet. They have increased their... I'm going to pull up their report. Oh, I'm in the wrong... Let me actually go to their... So they're trading at $2. They're trading at $22 million market cap. But if you look at their financial results... Not their financial results, their production results. In July of 2022, they were mining 12 Bitcoin. And by the way, that was like record-breaking for them. They were much lower than that in the past. So by July of 2023, they jumped up massively in X, and it's still only 1.1 exahash. But for the longest time, they were at 0.1 exahash. So that's a 10x in exahash. You can see they're consistently mining somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 Bitcoin a month. All of a sudden, this is a real company. Are they a juggernaut? No. But are they worth more than $22 million? Well, I guess that's for everybody to figure out. But I don't think this is some crazy risk play. It's a strong balance sheet company whose market cap, has evaporated for some reason. So there's a couple of those that I'm hoping to do the same thing that I did with Stronghold. I'll probably, I always intend to pull a triple or a quadruple when I go into those, and then, when you're when you're already up over 100%, sometimes, that's when I get the urge to say, you know what, don't get greedy. It's, it's not a high conviction play. Take your win. You got your win, take it, move on, fight another day. So, anyway, that's my tangent. I'm going to end that tangent with a please press the like button. It helps channel out a lot.
I don't think that's a tangent. I just think you got to explain it. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, it was a long spiel, but I think it was important because, Ennie's a very different company. Like George and I laughed at Eni for months and months, and in my opinion, at that time they deserved to be laughed at. So that's just my opinion. But they made companies change. They made fundamental changes. So, and that can happen the opposite way. There can be a company that's great that all of a sudden they do something. You go, what is this? Why would they do this? This changes my This changes their financial position. This changes my opinion of management's judgment. So, this can go both ways. For a lot of people, and I'm not one of them, for a lot of people, when Bitfarms borrowed a bunch of money, they borrowed $100 million. They bought Bitcoin with it, and that, they got wrecked on that deal. They survived it. They could afford to survive it. So in that regard, operationally, I think they're one of the strongest companies out there. They've completely gotten past all of that. They now have a very nice balance sheet, in my opinion. They're back on a very nice growth plan, in my opinion. So, I think they made a giant mistake. I think they learned their lesson. Yes, it was the hard way, and they're not the company, this is everybody's journey. That's their journey. So had they made a series of mistakes, or had they not found a way to unwind that mistake? But for me, in my opinion, they did. So, I remain confident in Bitfarms. And all the while, operationally, they were phenomenal, right? They continue. I'm going to go to the July because I haven't done, I'm going to go to June because I haven't done July yet. But if you look, this is the mining efficiency. So this is just straight up the number of Bitcoin mined in a month divided by the number of exahash actively hashing in that month. Some of these companies actually provide this number. Some of them I have to just do the math and, taking an average. So you're going to see in June, they were tied for first place with Hive. In the previous month, and which is the parentheses below here, they were in first place. So, long story short, through June, they were either in first or tied for first every single month of the year. I will say Hive is right there with them. They were tied for first half the time so far this year. Iris Energy has been a half a step behind them. In the month of June, it was actually a three-way tie for first. So, Cleanspark, while they look like they're in fourth, they have been extremely efficient. TerraWulf had an efficient month, but they've been hit or miss. These four right here have been the top four every single month all year through June 30th. I'll update July and see if that's still true. I know all four of these had a good month. We'll see if they're still all the top four. But so operationally, these are the companies, and it's one of the reasons why, joules per terahash, Bitfarms is a little bit higher than their competition, but they're so effective in managing their fleet that they're able to maintain profitability. And by profitability, I mean positive cash flow and positive EBITDA. They were not profitable by GAAP terms, nor were any of the Bitcoin miners so far that I've seen.
That is a good question. I'll get to your comment here in a minute. But what do you think the news about HUD? I didn't know there was news about HUD.
So some news came out about HUT today. I read that. To me, this looks like a resolution to the Validus or whatever that company was. It seems like that was a final resolution. They may even object to it. I thought it was basically, you know, this was going away. If I remember it correctly, it's going to cost them somewhere between $3 million and $11 million. I can pull it up and read it if you want, which is, so that'll be a non-operating expense. It's an insignificant amount of money, and it puts that to rest. And basically, most of what the judge ruled was in favor of HUT. If I'm remembering that correctly, maybe I should pull it up. Because there was another release regarding, and I don't want to get the two confused. There was another court case that, you know, reached a point, which was Iris Energy. And that was also a favorable resolution. So I may be telling you half of the results of one and half of the results of the other, so maybe I'm better off pulling these up. So let's do that. Let's see if I can get to any of the numbers. Pursuant to an order. Okay, so you can see, where do they say? Let me go back to the beginning. So I can't pronounce this, so I won't even botch it. Equipment Financing Limited, a subsidiary. M. So this all has to do with Validus, which was their energy. This was the energy argument they got in. Validus was previously a supplier of energy to the company's mining facilities in North Bay, Ontario. M is a secured creditor of Validus entities under an existing secured lease and participation agreement pursuant to an order on the Ontario Supreme Court Justice issued on the 10th, which was yesterday. An application by M, a licensed insolvency trustee with the extensive experience in receivership mandates, has been appointed as receiver of the property, assets, and undertaking of Validus entities, subject to the satisfaction of certain conditions under the terms of the support agreement. A stalking horse bid is to be submitted. So we got to go to the dictionary, folks. A stalking horse bid is an initial bid on the assets of a bankrupt company, settling the low-end bidding bar so that other bidders can't underbid the purchase price. So that's what's going on. They're liquidating their assets. Where was I? Anybody? So basically, this is setting a floor. So Validus is liquidating their assets. That essentially is what's going on here. There's a dispute between Validus and HUT 8. Ultimately, I feel like this is the end. This is the end of the road for that situation. So long ago, HUT 8 already took all of their miners out of where was this? North Bay. So they had long since taken all their Bitcoin miners out of North Bay. They placed some of them elsewhere. I think some of them are still not operational. For those of you who haven't followed along, the monthly operational reports for HUT 8, as far as on the side of their Bitcoin mining, have not been so great. They've scaled back due to a lot of things, including this Validus situation. They're looking for a merger that's pending. That's the much bigger deal. So this is some news. You guys let me know if you think this is bigger news than I think, but I think this is perfunctory. I think this is just things. All this has already played out for them. And, you know, I don't know, maybe HUT 8 gets a portion of this, whatever happens going forward, if they're a creditor that's listed. Either way, they're done with that. The much bigger question is, how are they going to be merging? If so, are they going to be able to stick to the terms of their merger? I don't think this affects that merger. I think what much more affects that merger, we talked about this on the members only stream, is right now Hut 80 has a market cap of $657 million. So they're talking about a merger of equals with US Bitcoin or whatever I can't remember the exact name of that company. So that merger of equals made a lot more sense a couple $100 million ago of market cap. I'm not sure as they sit right now. I'm not sure how they get this deal done. I do think these two companies are better off together merging. I'm just not sure the current deal that's on the table is fair if from Hut 8's perspective. So I don't know if there's some renegotiating going on behind the scenes. All the word that comes out, and they can't really say much about this, but everything they're saying is things are going well. They're proceeding. They're looking to merge, but we'll see. My personal, which is based on no information that I've received in any way, shape, or form, but just my judgment looking at the continued increase in the market cap of Hut 8, especially if in the next 30, 60, 90 days, Bitcoin does take this run up to 35,000, which our poll, 55% of the people in our poll are saying, this could end up $1 billion market cap. They did touch that over the last couple of months. So, now all of a sudden, if they're already $1 billion market cap, a merger of equals to me makes no sense at all anymore. So I hope they figure out a way to make this happen sooner than later. I do think it's pretty complicated, but they got to get, in my opinion, they got to get this done before the halving, or cut bait and do something else, right? Because they do have a lot going on in this company. They are, and I do want to get Sue and or Jamie back on the channel to talk about the other piece, which is, now all of a sudden AI is everybody's, best thing in the world. Well, these guys were in the high performance computing, and a function of that is, the AI space. They were the first ones out of all the Bitcoin miners to embrace this in a significant way. They made an acquisition. They have a large part of their business now that does that. So, I'd like to talk about that part of the business, because clearly their Bitcoin mining part of the business is all but on hold until this merger occurs. So if the merger occurs, this is going to get them back into like 7.5 exahash, and, they'll be back in the thick of things. Otherwise, I feel like they got to do something else. So I think we're all a little bit in the dark on this one, I guess is what I would say. Let me end.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about it that it's been going on this long.
Right. It has been a long time. It's longer than we expected. I think it's longer than they expected. These mergers are not simple things, and so much changes so fast in technology, particularly, you're in crypto, you're in high performance computing. All of a sudden, in the middle of all that, AI exploded and took over everything. So a lot of moving parts.
Don't they still have a lot of machines that have been just on the sidelines now for 4 months?
They had, I don't remember.
I mean, like a ton of them.
Well, I think they never really got much past 3. Their goal, at one point their goal was to get to 6 exahash. They never had the machines to do that. They had agreements to do that. I don't think they ever got much past 3 exahash, and then they started to go backwards from there. So there are some machines not plugged in. I don't know what machines those are. By the halving, those might not even be worth plugging in. Most of their exahash is going to come from this merger. They bring some exahash to the table. They bring some energy agreements to the table, but the big point of this merger was diversify themselves out of, not leaving Canada, but to be more diverse than just being in Canada. They were going to, they're going to domicile themselves in the United States, which should theoretically bring them access to more potential equity, money. So those are all, and help them grow. So those are a lot of the reasons they want to do this. That's a lot of what this brings to the table. But, I don't know. I feel like I'm in the dark. on this one.
Yeah, I thought they wanted to see, and this is where I guess it's so different. I thought they were doing the deals because they had a whole bunch of machines that they couldn't get them powered anywhere, and they were trying to make a deal with somebody that had their own power and their own place to put it.
Well, I think that was a piece of it. They did have some machine, but it wasn't, you know, it's not 3 or 4 or 5 exahash of machines sitting in boxes on the side like certain other companies had, you know, over the course of the last year.
I know who that is. That's why I'm laughing, but I won't say it.
So, you know, but there was a bunch of, they had to unplug all their North Bay machines. And it took them a long, long time. And I do think that most of those are still not plugged in, right? They're mining significantly less. So yes, a piece of that puzzle is, you know, maybe it's whatever it is, even if it's 10 or 15,000 machines that they can bring and plug in with somebody who has the infrastructure, a good power purchase agreement, you know, and make those machines more efficient, in addition to just being able to turn them on versus being turned off.
I mean, now it almost seems like they kind of screwed themselves and didn't have a plan B. Oh, wait a second. That brings me to plan B.
Speaking of plan B, as I no longer will, but you are free to speak of plan B.
No, I just find it, I mean, no. When do you think there's going to be an ETF, Tom? When are you thinking for Bitcoin, a spot ETF?
Man, that's one of the most speculative questions. We'll ask that one next. I'll give my answer in advance, though, since you asked.
Should we do a poll on that one?
Yes, let's do a poll right now.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be this year. But, I mean...
There's some people that think it's going to be next week.
What? Really?
Yep.
Wow. What type of price movement do you think there would be on Bitcoin if that happens?
Massive.
Like to the mid 40s?
I think within a 120-day period it would go past that. That's my personal opinion.
Really?
That's the biggest catalyst for Bitcoin by far. I can't even tell you what would be second place from the beginning of Bitcoin till now.
Really?
The access that gives, the money that brings into this space is by far multiples more than all the money in this space right now, lifetime to date. And that doesn't mean it's all going to pile in on day one. It just means that, you know, you're adding trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of money that right now has no real viable access to get into Bitcoin. All of a sudden, all they're going to have to do is buy shares in an ETF, just like they were buying a stock.
Do you think that would automatically put Apple to buy Bitcoin at that point in time?
I think Apple's going to do their own thing. If they want Bitcoin, they don't need to wait for an ETF. Now, they may buy it because they feel like, listen, with an ETF, we don't want to miss the run. Apple is so huge, I don't know that they care about Bitcoin. Remember, Apple's triple the size of the entire cryptocurrency universe, just by themselves. So, you know, do they want to participate? I guess I would think most of the big companies want some participation in the upside of this.
Well, I mean, to me, if it's an appreciating asset, you
right.
know.
Oh, I got to erase this end poll. I pressed the wrong button. As you guys know, I can't type and talk simultaneously, so I'll be done with this in a second. Okay, boom, next poll. When will the Bitcoin ETF I should have said, when will a Bitcoin ETF be approved? So I broke it down into 4 options. Within the next month, by the end of this year, 2023, prior to the halving in April of 2024, or after the spelled wrong halving. Halving. I said halving, but you guys know what I mean. Pardon my spelling. So let's see what you guys think. And then George and I will give you our 2 cents. In the meantime, if you could please smash the like button. It is free and it helps spread the stream. It would be much appreciated. For those of you who are not currently subscribed, if you enjoy this content, if you enjoy the time that George and I spend with you on Friday afternoons, the videos we bring you throughout the week, it would be a big favor to us to subscribe to the channel, which is also free. That helps us in the YouTube algorithm a lot. We're trying to grow the channel. We are going to bring you guys a massive amount in the next 6 to 8 weeks on this channel. I've already reached out to most of the larger Bitcoin mining companies, and we're in the process of setting up getting all of the CEOs on the channel, or as many as we can. And we have a bunch of, I'll still call them for the moment, surprise guests that I'm working on trying to get on the channel, in addition to all the other information that we try to bring you.
Question. Did you hear about this Dave Porter deal?
No.
Portner, Barstools, yeah.
I saw somebody mention, I think a lot of you guys don't like him, but I do watch Pomp from time to time. And one of the things I like about him is he does 2 or 3 videos a week that are 3 minutes or 6 minutes. And honestly, I just don't have a lot of time with all the research I do. So I love a 6-minute video. So I watched some of his videos, and he basically, I guess, it seems like he sold the thing and then he got it back for like next to nothing. Or
well, I mean, I'm hearing it. Well, according to Jeff, he said it was $1.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't get it, so I'd love to hear more about that deal. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it to talk about it.
But is that our Jeff that said that?
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you that's something along the lines of what Pomp said. So.
Pomp.
Pomp, come on, Pomp. Here,
Pomp.
I'll go to his channel. I think a lot of you probably know Pomp. A lot of mixed feelings about Pomp. Some people love him, some people hate him. You know, I don't watch a lot of his videos, but like I'm going to show you. He's got some shorter videos. Like, you know, here's a 6-minute video. I take breaks, you know. I cannot just read, you know, if I'm 30 pages into a 10K, I'll watch a 6-minute video. That's a great break. I can't do these 46-minute videos. I just can't do it. But here's a Bitcoin update, 8 minutes. So, you know, I try to watch a lot of those. And I think he's concise and to the point. A lot of people don't like his personality. I don't know. He wears a New York Yankee hat. He may come off a little bit too New York for a lot of people, whatever that means. So, I don't know. Anyway, this is who I heard it from. He's got 536,000 subscribers. He's pretty popular in the Bitcoin universe, so many of you
I don't even know who
him.
He is. I've never even heard of him.
Check him out. Check out Pomp. Let us know if you like him or if you don't like him. There's a free plug for him. Not that he needs it from me by any stretch of the imagination. FV702. All right, I'm out, guys. CleanSpark, Bitfarms, and Cores. Let's go. Just final note. Thank you, FV702, for the super chat. It is very much appreciated. Hopefully you had a great week with CleanSpark and others, and enjoy your weekend. Jeff is saying he bought it back for $1 and contingencies. Penn gets 50% future sales, and Barstool can't open another sports book. Penn made a deal with Disney, ESPN. I did just see that, although I haven't looked into the details. I know Penn's stock jumped, at least the day I was looking, Penn's stock jumped on that deal, so I don't know if it's a good deal or a bad deal, but the knee-jerk reaction was very positive for Penn. Barry said, can you get Pomp's wife on the show? She is way better than him. Well, I'm ignorant to who Pomp's wife is. How do I find that out?
Don't get this man in trouble.
It sounds like she's a personality.
She's a personality, all right. I don't know who it is.
Is this the right person? Let's see. I'm flying blind here, so hopefully I'm not going down a bad path. Paulina Pompliano. Is this who we're talking about? Let me know.
I think so.
Let me know in the comments. Ross, welcome. If you're new to the channel, or relatively new, welcome. Or if you're just new to leaving comments, welcome as well. Ross says, I like Pomp. Jeff said, Penn got $1.5 billion. Edmund, I like Pomp and Pomp's wife. All right, Edmund has spoken. So Edmund is one of our reliable sources. As are you, Jeff. I'm not saying you're not. We have lots of fantastic sources. Both Edmund and Jeff are members. So special thanks to both of you guys and all your quality input. Calvin saying, thoughts on switching physical assets to digital. So I'm not sure exactly what the scope is of that you mean. You know, are you considering gold a physical asset? Are you considering you know, real estate a physical asset? Barry is saying, "Yep, that's her." All right, so we got the right person. Well, she only has 2,000 subscribers. What's going on? Are you sure that's her? That studies the most interesting and successful people and companies. I'm going in. She's got a lot of videos, but maybe this is brand new. She's only done 39 videos. Let's go to her about page. She does not seem to mention in any way, shape, or form any relationship to the other Pompliano. But you guys are saying this is her. Well, I'll invite her on the channel. First, I got to watch some of her videos and see if there's anything she's talking about that's worthwhile.
She's married.
I'm not asking her out on a date. These are the types of guests I think people want to hear from, not just one tiny little scope of stuff. You know, let's talk. We want to talk to the people.
The people.
I work with the customer, okay? Let's see. Bitcoin update, please. I am short from 29,300. So let's go back to the Bitcoin chart while we're at it. So, I mean, you can see this is the 15-minute chart, super zoomed in. So this is where we were when the equity markets closed yesterday, Thursday in the U.S. This is where we are right now. We are, you know, just a few dollars difference. For 85, we're now $10 different than where we were 24 hours ago. So you want to talk about some sideways activity. We are hanging out here. So I expect more of the same this weekend, but you never know when we get a breakout move one way or the other. I will go to the 1 day and just take a look at this and show you. I think we have some real ambiguous stuff. It seemed like we were headed in a direction on the RSI and the MACD, but I think, you know, maybe it was just a fake out. We got this pullback, you know, and we kind of double bottomed here, which seemed encouraging, and then we ran up over 50 on the daily RSI. All that seemed encouraging, but, you know, now we've kind of spent a couple of days and we find ourselves a little bit under 50. So to me, very ambiguous, right? I would not be surprised to see this. Still, this was the line I was looking to retest, and a full reset is down to 30. Maybe that's still ahead of us, and you can see we've almost kind of squandered. The other thing that happened simultaneously was we got a bullish crossover on the one-day time frame on the MACD. So you can see we turned from red to green. We're 4 days into that, but I mean, this is the definition of no momentum whatsoever. Look how small these candles are on the histogram. This was a little run up over here. So, you know, these are nothing. These happen to be red and these happen to be green, and we got a bullish crossover. But all this put together equals no momentum really in either direction. So very, very neutral or mixed signals just from some of the very basic technicals. So I think the bigger picture, we still are heading up. We're still in a bull market. I maintain that position. That's just my personal opinion, not financial advice. We did do a poll earlier. 55% of the people in the poll thought the next move for Bitcoin was up to 35,000. Let's see. Instead of investing in Calvin Crypto's saying, instead of investing in real estate, investing in Bitcoin. Trying to decide to buy a house outright or continue renting and buy Bitcoin, then hodl. I mean, that's always a tough question, and everybody's in a very different situation. So you got to decide, do you want to be a renter or do you want to own a house? Those are two very different things. So that's one piece of the decision outside of just the financial aspects on that. And then, obviously, do you got to decide, is a Bitcoin a better long-term asset?
Yeah, what's going to appreciate more?
Right.
That's another great poll.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Over the next, and that's got to be over the next 10 years. Because, 1, 2, 3 years, who knows what happens. So over the next 10, 15, we could even say 15 years. So maybe that's our next poll. Over the next 15 years.
I can tell you, I'm moving money around and doing some really funky things. Funky stuff.
I know. I don't know how much you
I
want
can't
to
even tell you because I'm not going to hear. Edmund will give me such a rough time if I tell him. Did anybody talk about Bitcoin? I mean, XRP trading at $50?
No, tell us about that.
So what was this? Was it Celsius? I think it was Celsius. I don't remember. They got listed on an exchange, and 3:12 this morning, XRP was trading at $50, and $1.51 though.
So it had two spikes.
Yeah. Granted, it was only 3,000. So what I think is someone did a market order. And you know what I mean, for $50.
Oh, somebody did, right? With a small dollar amount, they just said market order, and on the other side, somebody got them. That can happen.
I mean, it's happened to me so many times on options, right? When you do market on options, and then some idiot is like, "Oh, you got me." It usually happens on Monday morning.
I never do any market orders anymore for that exact reason. All of a sudden, you catch that 1 second or nanosecond where, the only bid ask ends up getting you destroyed.
And Ross, Edmund, I'm not buying any more XRP, but I can tell you.
Oh, you're holding.
I'm holding, but I think people would be in shock if they knew how much XRP I had.
Yes, that's. I don't know that it's. In fact, I know it's not your biggest position financially speaking overall, but it's certainly your biggest position.
But I just had a number in mind. I got up to that number, and I did it actually quicker than I thought I would do it. And I just said that's how I'm putting in it, and Tom's trying to teach me to be a disciplined investor.
And I feel like you've made great strides.
How about this? At one point in time, I had all my losses gone, and I had over 6 figure just from XRP, by the way.
Yeah.
How about that one?
Well, and if you have conviction in it, you will believe that that will happen again, probably
Yeah.
sometime sooner than you think.
Yeah. It's like I said to my kids, I moved them off exchange, and I said to my kids, which they're 117 and the other one's 21, and they're like, "Oh, what are you going to do with XRP?" And I'm like, "Nothing." I said, "I don't even really care about XRP anymore. That's not going to be for me. That's going to be for you." So that's how I look at it.
That's a long-term investment.
Yeah.
That's right, and that's all about time frame. And that goes back to the question, what's a better investment, crypto or, I don't know if we want, pardon me, I don't know if we want to phrase that, Bitcoin, crypto, or, or real estate. Those are over those longer, you're talking 20, 30, you don't need to touch that for the next 30 years, really.
Right. Well, and you know what? That gets me to the next thing is, what do you think? I mean, I'm when I say you, I mean people listening to the stream. Is the dollar still going to be the world currency? Is it still going to be strong? I mean, I don't know any of those answers. I wish I did, and no one does.
No.
No one does. Everybody thinks they do, but no one really
And
does.
there's an awful lot of talk, and things do change over long periods of time. I would just caution everybody that, moves like what's the world's currency, those things, are not overnight events usually, and they will change, and they have changed, right? So you can expect it to change again. But, I would take a longer time frame on things like that happening. I just want to mention we have McNally Money on the live streams. He said, "Hey Tom, great stream, thanks." So I will disclose that I'm going to be, I think you talked about posting that maybe over the weekend or Monday. Bryce and I sat down and had a conversation.
Who is this McNally? Who is this guy?
McNally Money. So he also talks about Bitcoin miners as well as other investing, and we had a nice conversation, so I appreciate that, and he's going to post that I think sometime over the next 3 or 4 days. So
he didn't even want to interview me? Wow. Now I'm hurt, Tom.
Maybe he
I think you know people.
maybe maybe you can be in the next one.
No, I'm okay.
I think you got to show your face though.
Yeah.
So right
well,
now
I got that facelift, and I'm waiting for it to, heal up.
Yeah. You need the swelling to go down. Is that?
Yeah. Once that happens, then maybe.
Fair enough.
Which day should we go out? Saturday? Oh, does he live in Florida?
Huh? Who?
McNally.
Oh, I don't think so. I believe he lives in Canada. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And somewhere, Edmund said, "At McNally Money, thanks for your great work, Wolf and Iris Energy." Crypto is the way to go, said, "I have only 300 XRP. Well, you got to start somewhere. Everybody's got to start somewhere. So don't compare yourselves to others. Just do your own thing. Make your own plan. And
I'm a dad. And that's the other thing. So I'm thinking about like selling properties to get into more crypto. But that was kind of where I was going with what we were talking about earlier. Is that, I mean, to me, it seems like there's going to be more appreciation, and I'll just say crypto, overall, than in real estate right now. I think that, unfortunately, this next generation isn't going to be able to make all the money that was made in real estate that everybody else made. Again, real estate's been tried and true, but I think that it's just everything that we're talking about is changing. And I think you have to find other things to make your long-term capital.
And a part of it is, we talk about this on the channel all the time, even and Bryce and I talked about this in our time that we talked together. We even diversify amongst the Bitcoin miners.
Right.
So the same principle holds true with your entire scope of investment. So just because you think maybe Bitcoin's the future doesn't mean you abandon all else, right?
No.
You got some real estate, you got maybe some stocks, bonds, You got some cryptocurrencies, if you're Bitcoin, maybe a few others, and there's, a myriad of assets that you can have. So I none of this is financial advice, but I think it's, a tried and true belief system that, keep yourself diversified. Obviously, stay in those things that you have a high conviction in, and those are age-old investment strategies. None of us here made those up.
You know what? And here's one of the things that I should have told everybody a long time ago. I always try to find 3 things to make money. So you got your primary job, and then I call it the side hustle, and then it's investments. That's, for me, I have a lot of, well, I don't have it a lot anymore, but I have a few rental properties that obviously, have been very well over periods of time. But you got to know when to get in and when to get out. I always call this, what is it? Duck, duck, goose. And you never know who's going to be the goose, and you don't want to be the goose.
Yeah, and or musical chairs. You don't want to be left standing. So, and that happens through diversification. And sometimes you're going to hold. So it's the difference between what we've talked about on this channel for years. We just went through a brutal crypto winter. For those people who bought at the high and sold at the low, that was a bad experience for them. Had they held, and everybody's situation is different. Maybe they couldn't afford to hold, or whatever the case may be, or maybe they couldn't sleep at night. So I'm not criticizing anybody, but if you held, if you dollar cost averaged in, like I said, a lot of our members are back in the green. They're up, even though we're nowhere near crypto highs. If you did the proper dollar cost averaging, you may have made a bunch of your money back, or all of your money back. You may be in the profits by now. So the same thing is very true with real estate, right? Real estate, first of all, real estate is very local, so everybody's real estate market local. Is different, and it goes through wild swings. Where we are, I can't even tell you the unbelievable swings that real estate goes through. And we're in the middle of, a gigantic pump where I live, to the point where...
And, Tom, I just came up with a whole new theory about it, by the way.
You something we can share, or we got to discuss on our members only?
No, I don't want to depress anybody.
Great. Yeah,
I don't want to depress anybody.
If it's depressing, it will be you and I can talk about it.
Later. But it just made me realize how impressive Naples really is.
This market has swings like maybe no place else in the world. It's very, very unreasonable. But hey, some people played it right. There's people, and this is true. This is not the only place on earth this is true. But there's people who bought property 30 years ago. If you've ever heard the old expression, hey, I got some land I want to sell you in the swamp in Florida. Well, guess what? That was a joke when I was a kid, but that land that people bought for $1,000 or $2,000, some of that's worth $20 million, $50 million. The swamp isn't a swamp anymore. And, so for those people, there are people that held for 30 or 40 years, and those are the now, please don't judge your own returns based on that. These are, so there's also some people that won the lottery in that period of time as well. So, that shouldn't be your goal.
So, Tom, there's a good question, and that would be maybe even a good question for the next, whatever they're called. I can't think of them right now. Is what's going to be better the next 40 years, holding real estate or holding Bitcoin?
Yeah, so let's make that our next poll. Let's check in on this poll.
That's what it's called, poll.
Ah, yes, the poll. So this poll was, when will Bitcoin ETF be approved? So in first place was prior to the halving, which is April 2024. In second place was by the end of the year 2023. So
wow.
7% said within the next month. So 88% of those who voted believe that by the halving we will have a Bitcoin ETF. 12% think that it will be after the halving. So a pretty strong majority think that sometime by the halving, most think, yeah, by the end of the year, by April 2024, I think we're going to have an ETF by the end of the year. I think they've stalled as long as they can stall. I will caveat that by saying I said the same thing in 2022. So I was 100% wrong, and I could be 100% wrong again. But that's what I believe. I think they've run the clock out. I think they wanted to stall as long as they could. I suppose they could stall even longer than this, but I think they're moving on to other things. So, and I think also they know whenever this happens, at this point, it is an inevitability, in my opinion. So, as to when, I guess, that's always anybody's best guess. But I do think it's inevitable. I will also answer somebody earlier, so I'll end that poll. Thanks for participating. We're still not at 100 likes, so anybody who has not pressed the like
Dude, I
button,
thought, really?
it's free to press. We appreciate it. It helps spread the live stream. We had a streak. Like, we used to get to 100 likes halfway through a live stream, no problem. Now, I don't know.
Maybe I should like it.
Are we, let us know in the comments what we got to do to get your like on the stream.
Which one's less limited and surprised that's your answer, George?
Somebody asked me earlier. Let me find the question so I
don't know. The way things are catching on fire, it might be houses. You know what I'm talking about, Tom?
Something about fire?
You didn't hear about Maui?
I heard something about like high winds and spreading fires, and I wasn't really. I was kind of checking out what Bitcoin was doing at the time, so
I agree.
Confess,
Tom.
I wasn't paying close attention.
200. You need to shoot for 250 likes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
definitely playing for the people in Maui. So what happened? And I know it was a town in Maui, and I don't know the name of it, but it was a coastal town. And so far, like almost 60 people have died.
That's horrendous.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I did not know exactly what that was. Somebody was talking about it, and I was not paying attention. So that's terrible, and we will all pray for them. Edmund said, liked it twice, laptop and the big TV. Thank you, Edmund.
Oh, yeah.
Much appreciated. I think, George, you mentioned this. Jeff said, Tom, you need to shoot for 250 likes. I can't even get 100. So, okay, as of now, we're shooting for 250 likes. So, please smash the like button.
Crypto all the way to go. It was exactly 56, and then I saw it was 59. So I think it's almost 60 people that have died, unfortunately. And it's called, how do you say it? IREN. 55 dead, 1,000 missing. That's crazy.
1,000 missing. Well, let's
this
pray
is
for
a
those
major,
1,000 because that's a big number.
That isn't that crazy?
That's awful.
That's insane. Yeah, that's rough.
Let's see what I missed. Sourmelon Gaming, why are they stalling the ETF so hard? So this is all a part of, my opinion, and I think it's a pretty commonly accepted opinion. This is the SEC. This is Gary Gensler. This is all part of a larger picture. The SEC wants control of as much of the cryptocurrency universe as it can get control of. Now, I will say, even Gary Gensler has made it at this point crystal clear. Bitcoin will not be considered a security, period. It is considered a commodity. Everybody that matters has agreed on that. I don't see that changing. It's not even a matter of conversation anymore. However, I do think that they want to stall on the ETF because watching a successful Bitcoin ETF just is going to, decrease his power base. It's going to decrease his argument against cryptocurrencies. And, it's all about control. So, in my opinion, this as always, it's a matter of power and control. I won't even go into anything more nefarious than that. But let's just say I do think some people are still finishing out building their positions in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So, you know, that is what it is. I just think it is inevitable. There's no logical argument at this point with a Bitcoin futures ETF, which was approved about a year ago, and with all the other tens of thousands of ETFs out there. Even Gary Gensler himself, in my opinion, has not put forth one logical statement that says that he should be able to reject a Bitcoin ETF. And now we've got every big name in the ETF business has submitted for a Bitcoin ETF, you know, ending with BlackRock, which, you know, to say they're the 800-pound gorilla is an understatement. You now have a lot of the other applicants saying, listen, you can't just go hand BlackRock a Bitcoin ETF. You know, we were all in first. If you're going to do this, you got to do it simultaneously. It's, you know, it's either good for all or good for none, because I think they are legitimately concerned that with BlackRock's influence and the fact that they're, I don't know, I think, how many was it, George? They've only ever lost one or been rejected on one application.
BlackRock, yeah.
For an ETF. So they will get their ETF. I do think Grayscale will convert their trust to an ETF. There's a lot of other very big names in the ETF world that have already submitted. So it's coming. I feel very strongly about that. I will, you know, I am surprised it hasn't happened already. I guess nothing should surprise me in the world of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, or investing anymore at this point, because we see, you know, anything can happen. But I got that as a done deal. The one thing I don't think is going to happen, and I'm looking for this comment so I can address it directly. So give me 1 minute. I don't want to use the wrong number. I think somebody was saying that Michael Saylor was talking about Bitcoin reaching, and that's why I'm trying to look to get the right number. It was some outrageous number, like 100 trillion or 500 trillion in net worth. So I don't know why it's not jumping out at me. I'm scrolling through the comments, but my answer to that is I do not believe that. I think that's ridiculous. Now, I'll caveat that by saying in my lifetime, you know, were I to live out a natural amount of time, I do not see that happening in the next 30, 40, 50 years. You're talking about something being 10 times the market cap of gold. So, no. I think that's overly... I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin, but I don't see that happening. If Bitcoin were to catch up to gold, Brent is saying 500 trillion. So that's 50 times... I'm without looking, I'm pretty sure that's significantly more than all the money in the world. So I'm guessing the answer to that is no. Now, you know, 100 years from now, 200 years from now, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? None of us can fathom what the world looks like or what our assets will be worth, and none of those are investment timeframes. You know, long-term investment timeframes are 20, 30 years. So is Bitcoin going to be worth $500 trillion 30 years from now? I'm going to give that a strong no, in my opinion. I just can't. There's almost no math where I could fathom that, other than the world's economy just completely breaking down and Bitcoin being the only remaining source of currency. And even if that happened, I don't think it would reach $500 trillion. What do you think, George?
Never. Those are just ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, I don't. I'm in shock already. So
Brent's saying never say never, but remember, that's
I know.
way more than what the U.S. dollar is worth. I mean, $500 trillion, I think, is more than the entire net worth of not only the U.S. government, but every citizen in the U.S. government, all the real estate added up together in the United States. And I'm being United States specific here, but I don't know, the same thing could be said of the world. It's a number I have a hard time fathoming. Let's just say that. So I'm not sure what that equals. I just, how about we shoot for 1 trillion? Because never mind 500 trillion, Bitcoin's only a little more than halfway to 1 trillion. 10 trillion would be a grand slam home run. Right? That means, remember, there's only 21 million Bitcoin, so $10 trillion means, I think, Bitcoin $500,000. So that's a monumental goal right there. Anybody in Bitcoin or the Bitcoin miners, if you've put a decent amount of money in, you will be extremely wealthy if Bitcoin can get to $10 trillion, never mind 500 trillion. And Crypto Fever saying, let's get to 50 trillion first. Even that would be monumental. Jeff saying 100 trillion. If Bitcoin is worth 100 trillion US dollars, the US dollar is worth 0. That's what Jeff is saying. Yeah, and if Bitcoin's worth 100 trillion, they'll be valuing other assets in Satoshis, sats, which I think is 1/1,000,000th of one Bitcoin. Sour Melon Gaming, I'm calling Tom 25K subs end of year. That'd be
nice.
great. 100K subs 2024. When the big Bitcoin run starts, people are going to flock to this channel looking for information. Well, I hope that you're right, Sour Melon Gaming. There's only a small group of people talking about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. So we're doing our best to bring you guys every type of analysis we possibly can. So, and a lot of you, I know a lot of you have been with us for a long time. So again, as always, much appreciated to all existing subscribers. If you are not a subscriber, if you enjoy this content, if you enjoy George on our Friday live stream, you'll enjoy him even more on our Tuesday members only live stream. So it's free to become a subscriber. It's a mere $5 a month to become a member, and you get once a week we do a members only live stream. Members get their own private videos, and we have a members only Discord where the members get to talk to each other 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So all those things, I think, are some high quality stuff, and we have super high quality members. So thanks to all the members, and thanks to all the subscribers. Jeff is going on. 100K subs by the halving, 1 million subs by January 2025, 100 million subs by Bitcoin 1 million in 2030. All right, Jeff, I'm on that plan. That's our new set of goals. Jeff D'Agostino, KUDAB, which stands for Can You Do Any Better? Nicely done, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Sour Melon Gaming said, don't ever leave us, Tom and George. Well, hopefully we don't ever leave, and hopefully the channel does continue to grow. That would be nice. We do spend an awful lot of time, effort, and energy, and that is by no means a complaint. We're glad to do so, but it would also be nice if everybody would subscribe, smash the like button, and for those of you who can help support the channel, the membership does come with a lot of benefits for just $5 a month. So that's all I'll say about that. No, it's not. You can become a member by hitting the join button on YouTube. So, that's partnered with YouTube. You don't have to go to some third-party strange place. The join button's right next to the subscribe button on YouTube. If you are on an Apple product, there's a few places where they don't show the join button. So there's a link in the pinned comment below for you to join and become the latest member of the Talking Investing Squad. We did not have any new members join on this Friday live stream. So, if you're watching now or if you're watching later, not live, consider joining. Bitcoin 600 million investing 1 billion. I'm 1 billion. Jeff, I got to jump off the plan. You had 100 million. Now we're at 1 billion subs. Okay. All right. That's the new. Jeff just laid out the channel's plans for the next 50 years, I think, getting us to 1 billion subs from our 14,400 that we currently have. So we got our work cut out.
You're funny.
Edmund, ASRK 21 shares ETF final approval date is January 2024. So is that ARK's fund? I would imagine. Yeah, I mean, so you've got ARK, you've got iShares, you've got every Valkyrie, you've got everybody that makes an ETF has applied for a Bitcoin ETF. This is happening. There's no realistic. At some point, the pressure is going to get to where it's either a Bitcoin, Gary Gensler, or a Bitcoin ETF. And, he's lasted a long time, but I think he's going to understand that, the time is coming. The time is really past. He's already ridiculously delinquent, in my opinion, in making that happen. And somebody earlier asked her, is that going to be good or bad for Bitcoin? That is, in my opinion, that is going to be extremely good for Bitcoin. I don't know what the first 24 hours or the first month holds. There's a lot of manipulation in what is a very small space still. Remember, the entire cryptocurrency universe is still only about $1 trillion. That sounds like a lot of money, but there's 5 or 6 individual companies in the United States that are larger than that. Apple's 3 times as large as that just by themselves. So there can be some manipulation, but sooner than later, in a 3-month, 6-month window of time, certainly within a 1-year window of time, this gives access. Right now, it is very hard for people to get access to Bitcoin. And I know for a lot of you that are in this world, you're in the cryptocurrency world, it's hard for you to fathom that it's difficult for people to get access to this, but there's a lot of people that are not going to go, they're not going to go sign up to a crypto exchange. They're not going to go get they're not going to get a crypto wallet. They're not going to do any of the things, any of the hoops they need to jump through. They're not comfortable with. It's not how they've invested for their entire life. But an ETF is exactly how they invested. And it's not just individuals. You're going to have institutions. This is going to give access to pension funds, retirement funds, right? This is where all the money is in this world. There's trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that really right now have 0% of their money in Bitcoin. So if ultimately over a 1 or 2 year period that turns into 1%, 2%, 3%, heaven forbid it turns into 5%, you're talking about Bitcoin tripling, quadrupling, more than that in that period of time. So those are my thoughts on how that's going to play out. That's one of the big reasons I'm bullish on Bitcoin, among many other reasons. Crypto is the way to go. Set at my current income, I have about $100 per week I can invest, so I guess I should just dollar cost average. So, you would be doing what historically the most successful investors have done over the course of time. And if that's what you can afford, then that's, the right amount to do it. And, we didn't invent that here. And, this is not financial advice, but that is a tried and true method. And historically speaking, it's been the best way to make money. So you never know what the future holds, but that's what's been going on.
Well, Tom, I thought I'd be with you to the 100 likes, but I gotta go.
I think we're gonna.
99.
I think I'm gonna go as well.
Put your head down in shame. Put your head down in shame.
I think so. I think we have.
Oh, there it goes.
Did it get to 100?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I was ready to admit defeat, but we got there. Thank you, much appreciated. We just got. Apparently, we just got. Mine's showing 99, but if you're seeing 100, then so be it. So we'll wrap it up. Thank you, George, for once again taking a part of your Friday evening to
This was fun.
discuss with.
You made me excited again about Bitcoin, Tom.
Good.
Every time we talk about it, I'm like more excited. And then to hear what everybody else has to say about everything. I think that's what's so cool about this is, like, you know, we run the channel, but you guys are definitely a big part of it, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a shared group. That's spot on, George. And so thanks to everybody. Special thanks to our subscribers. Super special thanks to our members for supporting the channel. And George, enjoy your weekend. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you did well in Bitcoin this week. And let's go Bitcoin. Maybe next week's the week we have our breakout. We'll see what happens. Thanks again. Have a great night.